Soul Garden.
Hello, my producers. Welcome back to Soul Horoscopes Weekly Update. From my webcam to yours, I'm Christopher Witecki, your host to the universe. I'm also the host of SoulGarden.me and happy to announce the first annual Ms. Lilith costume catwalk contest. What this is we are inviting our patrons, men and women, to dress up as their Lilith asteroid placement in their chart. This is an astrological geeky thing. Lilith is kind of where you have pent-up rage, and we think Halloween's the best day to celebrate this holiday. So the winner will win a free year of Soulmar videos. That's right, unlimited, pig out, and also a special kit from the Witch Doctor. We have details on the site if you want to join. All you got to do is send in a video of you doing the catwalk dressed up as your inner Lilith. And I think we're going to have a blast. It's going to be fun. May the Beth Lilith win. That's what we're saying. Now, we are in an interesting point, Taurus, about to wrap up chapter 3 of Sun in Libra, wrap up 3 years of Saturn in Libra. For the bulls, that means changing your relationship to reality, how you live in the moment, with the goal of perfect balance, harmony. Staying in your master shui, as I like to say. That's what I call it, master shui. When you're running your life from an emotional, passionate perspective and very gently allowing all of your states of awareness to report in, being hyper aware of all realities and not allowing any one part of our state of awareness to pull us too far, too long. And I am not an expert, I gotta tell you. Every time these horoscopes have been late, every time I've been challenged, it has been because I've been working on my own balance. So when we overlap on Sunday, Mother Earth rules a day on Sunday. We're holding space and we're manifesting this new balanced life. No matter what on Sunday, I hope you hold that space and maintain your balance. Even if the horoscopes are late, my life will be in balance. I insist on it. I am not going to fail this lesson. The moon is making us pensive. The moon is in Capricorn, and so emotions are focused on belief structure, life purpose, etc. So Sunday is basically a quiet day. On Monday, we are tested. We're at the 29th degree. That's the final degree, and the moon is ruling the day. Now, thank goodness the moon is in Aquarius, and so emotions are focused on career, legacy, making decisions. So you're feeling someone in control if you're at work and on your legacy path on Monday. The test is to maintain harmony and balance as our emotions kind of allow us to drive on this final day. One thing that's interesting and I think important is that the Sun is conjuncting Saturn at 2 degrees already. This is within what we call an orb. So as you are master shuiing and staying in balance in the moment, work, lifestyle, health, all of the above, you're also beginning to draw new emotional boundaries for yourself and your me-ridge. I'll talk about what that means in just a minute, but it means it's time to be responsible and draw boundaries to protect your emotions. If you are having a hard time holding the master shui in your lifestyle on Monday, it may be a lack of boundaries that's the problem, not a lack of an ability to balance. So this is just something to start to look at as we start off on Monday. Whoops, I'm all over the map here. Whoop, drunk driver. On Tuesday, it's 0 degrees, Scorpio. 0 means 0. We're in the no man's land between two states of awareness. Things will feel a little weird, and Pluto is ruling the day. When Pluto rules the day, it means it's time to say goodbye to an old life and hello to a new. And in this particular case, everyone on Earth is saying goodbye to a 3-year cycle and hello to a 3-year cycle. Pretty big, really, if you think about it. It doesn't fall on a New Year's Eve. That's because astrology plays by the planets. Now, the 0 degree will make us feel kind of spaced out. The moon in Aquarius pulls emotions for the bulls into career and legacy decisions. And again, Saturn is at 2 degrees, and so you're wanting to take responsibility for emotional boundaries. This is the day we're going to transition from one life to another, and you'll probably feel the old lesson popping up at some parts of the day and the new lesson starting to pop up in other parts of the day. Let me show you what we're working on. Now, Scorpio is the I protect state of awareness. This is the part of our soul that actually draws boundaries. And Tauruses use boundaries to maintain balance. So after 3 years of working on balance itself, you're going to work on what you do with balance, which is relationships. So for Tauruses out there who are unhappy in love relationships, I got you a little hall pass. It is very simple. You didn't know how to stay in balance. That's why relationships didn't work. Now that you understand the concept of balance and keeping your own life in balance, now you can master balance, which is you against another person. And in this first stage of relationship or balance energy or how you give and receive, through boundaries. So Taurus is given and received through boundaries, which is kind of true. Like for me, once a person has carte blanche, they have carte blanche. My boundaries are like, if you're in, you're in. You're not, you're not. And once you're in, I don't usually like to micromanage or police anyone. I like to trust anyone in my space. Once they're past the gate, once they're past the border patrol, they have carte blanche to my heart. Now, we'll see at the end of this transit if I'm still talking so high and mighty about this, because I'm not married and I'm not in a happy relationship, so I'll say that right now. But the first chapter, the first 10 days from 0 to 9 degrees will be the mirage. What are the boundaries that protect you? How do your boundaries protect you? How do you relate to you? So if you are a bad person or a bad marital partner to yourself, you are not going to draw on anything but that reflection in marriages. So how we treat ourselves is quintessential to how we end up being treated. Then balance is the actual art. The next chapter is the actual art of where to draw boundaries, where not to draw boundaries, and how drawing a boundaries keeps a bull's life in balance. And then manifesting partnership. Now remember, Saturn has just moved into I Protect. So Saturn is going to be working on changing your life of marriage, changing your life of marriage between now and Christmas. And I'll be talking about that in the Act 4. So it's not just this transit. This transit is the kickoff to a lot coming up. So on Tuesday, let's go to Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I'm so funny today. So on Wednesday, the sun clicks into 1 degree. Now this is a sun-ruled degree, which means that it's all about I love me. And so this is kind of like an engagement party for you, Taurus. It is time to get re-engaged to yourself in your marriage. And Saturn means seriously. So how are you feeling on Wednesday? That's the question. The moon will be partly in Aquarius and then move into Pisces depending on where you live on the planet. Looking at the planets, the sun is right on top of Saturn, and so there's a seriousness that you might be feeling. You might be taking that seriousness all the way to marriage issues or marriage issues at the top. But remember, we got to work on marriage to get to good marriages, and that's just something I want to put out there on Wednesday. Gosh, me and the driving today with the Tauruses. Now on Thursday, it's a powerful day. It's a moon rule day, which is a day where emotions take over. That's one thing. We're at a 2 degree. And on top of that, the sun is directly conjuncting Saturn. So this technically is the day where I believe that the new lesson will be introduced to you some part in your day. That's my theory about this day. I believe that in the conjunction, let's get a little closer. In the conjunction of the sun conjuncting Saturn, basically the sun, I love, is conjuncting with Saturn, I decide. And I love and I decide basically comes to a head. Now the sun only conjuncts Saturn once a year, okay? And that one time a year, our whole life has to make some I decide. And so you have to be very careful on this day what it is you're deciding, especially emotionally. Because the decision you decide emotionally basically sets you at your ground zero of the next lesson of marriage, balance, and marriage, all right? So if you are mature, own it on this day and decide how you feel. And I hope that feeling that you decide how you feel is calm, peace, tranquility, a graduation of the last transit. This is kind of magic making, folks. This is the joint between two cable cars, really. The two cable cars are Saturn in Libra and Saturn in Scorpio. And your decision of how you feel, which is all your decision, by the way, how you feel is your decision, and how you want to feel is your decision. And what enforces those decisions of feelings are boundaries. So whatever you decide about emotions will unveil your presence or absence of boundaries. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen on this day, but I do think you should journal like crazy, because I'll tell you in a few days where this will pay off, good or bad. Gosh, me and the driving today. Then comes Friday. Now Friday's going to be kind of a jovial day. I think everyone's going to feel good, and you're going to start to feel Halloween around the corner. You'll be feeling rather social, sunny, and popular, rather social. And Jupiter rules the day, which means I think Tauruses are going out in the world very hopeful. Probably hopeful about romance, hopeful about relationships, hopeful about the highest form. Tauruses, I think, skip to the end. Always want to get the dessert first if possible. Looking at the planets, the moon is going to transition from Pisces into Aries during the course of the day. So for you, it will get cloudier as the day goes. It depends on where you live. If you subscribe to GA, that's one thing we can kind of let you know exactly when the moon is shifting. Because when the moon shifts, emotions shift underground for the bulls. And as you can see, the moon will begin to conjunct Uranus, which means somewhere between this Friday and Saturday, you will have an emotional test of faith an emotional test of faith. Like, it could be kind of a bummer moment where you want to get depressed because things aren't going your way in relationships or with your marriage or in general. And that is, not a reflection of your actual marriages, but a reflection of how you decide to emotionally respond inside of you. Decide to have faith regardless, okay? So that your life continues to have faith. Emotional boundaries are what it's all about. Then on Saturday, breakdown. We have our first Uranus ruled day. It's a breakdown day. Showers, chance of some pretty big storms. If there was poor me last night, there's probably poor me today. It could be just the healthiest poor me on a Uranus breakdown day is for you to say, you know what, this part of my life sucked and I want to let it go. And you honor it and you mourn it, but you don't pour it. You don't pour yourself, you mourn yourself. You go, you know what, this part is dead, I want this to go, but I'm not going to sit here and pour me. I'm going to mourn the pain and let it go for good. But really, don't forget the conjunction of Uranus is part of this, but the real zapping stinger point taken here has to do with the planets. The sun itself is still on top of Saturn and ruled by Uranus. So there will be a breakdown at the end of the day with your marriage. And the marriage may be that your inner faith didn't come up with yourself. When I think of marriage, by the way, I think of the marriage of all 12 states of awareness talking to us. And sometimes we're a real bastard to our psychic side, or sometimes we're really nice to our emotions. Sometimes we only care about our sexual side, our Mars. It depends on the soul. But, in the United States of you need to be a nice partner and diplomat to all your states of awareness. So a breakdown in the marriage is probably that you have an issue with one of your states of awareness or something you haven't honored. But there's other stuff going on. On top of this, on this day, we have a major opposition between Mars up in Sagittarius, which is pushing you to shift your boundaries and making you both randy and irritable. And this has been for the last week, randy and irritable. Well, this randy irritableness comes to a head at 15 degrees Sagittarius, and it opposes Jupiter retrograde at 15 Gemini. For you, Taurus, this is a tug-of-war between where your boundaries should go, what you should get pregnant next, and where you should be collecting soul capital, where abundance is coming from. So it's the balance and tension cord between abundance and boundaries, and how if we have tight boundaries and we're in high demand, then we have a greater abundance that's drawn to that. All those soul economics come to a head. And then lastly, it's important to say that the moon is transiting inner faith. And so on top of all this breakdown of marriage and blah, 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 you've got to maintain the inner faith. Now, hopefully the moon already tested it yesterday. So on the important day today, hopefully everything doesn't come crashing down. But remember, you want to own and maintain faith on this day regardless. On Overlap Sunday, it's going to be a breakthrough and clarity day. It's where we get information cloudy and still private. The moon is still in the subconscious for the bulls. But emotional interfaith should come back if it was disrupted in the last 24 hours with that transit. Venus, our ability to receive, does go offline on Sunday. So if you just can't feel better, it's not that there's a crisis here. It's just that your ability to give and receive is offline. As it moves into Libra, it does mean that this lifestyle that you just work so hard to maintain balance in, you will actually begin to see the results of this work once Venus does cross over into Libra. But on this particular day where there's breakthrough and there's a test of faith in the last 24 hours and a breakdown, you may not feel the universe showing up, but it just will in a few days with Venus there. All right, my bulls, that's all I have for the 7-day forecast. Come on down and participate in our fun Halloween stuff. We're going to jump on our inner child and trick-or-treat and have all sorts of things. And I'll see you in 7 days. Make sure you hold on to yourself and have a good marriage. Until then, live, love, be.
Having a hard time with love lasting long enough? How often is your first date your last date? Have you noticed that your relationships last no more than 2 days? They say love never lasts, but in your case, it doesn't even start. Your birthday is a secret soul security number. We know everything about you, how you love, how you lust, and how you like to be lusted by. In one video, you'll understand what you're looking for in love and what you offer. Secrets of Birthdays, now available at secretsofbirthdays.com.